For immigrants in Canada, language can always be an issue, but what if you're simply a Canadian who doesn't speak French? Well, if you go to a Quebec hospital, in some cases you will get turned away, even yelled at. That's exactly what happened to one woman. And Sarah McIntyre, the language police are at it again. A woman goes.
No, they're not at it again. That's the problem.
I suppose in the Quebec hospital, this one woman goes there. She doesn't speak French. Her boyfriend, who does speak French, tells the attendant or the nurse, "Can you please explain to her what's going on while they're taking blood?" etc. Well, the nurse allegedly loses his mind, throws everything in the garbage, says, get the F out of here if you don't want to speak French, blah, blah.
Get out of Quebec.
Get
out of our province.
Insane.
Get out of our hospital. Get out of our province.
What's going on here?
This is in an old community called Verdun, which is part of Montreal. This couple, the woman had chest pains. They called an ambulance. They were taken to the closest hospital, which is the Verdun Hospital. And as you said, was, basically, they were escorted out by security after this male nurse complained that the patient wouldn't speak French because she couldn't speak French. She spoke English just fine, and then she ended up at the Montreal Jewish Hospital for treatment and is doing fine. But this is a growing problem. We're hearing more and more stories of this throughout the province of Quebec. That if you don't speak French, you're yelled at and told to get the hell out of the province. There's examples where just right after the PQ were elected, the separatists were elected. You had an individual ordering a sandwich at the Montreal Jewish Hospital, where a woman basically yelled at him to speak French. In Quebec, we speak French. Then there was also the example of a Metro Pass person trying to buy a pass in English, was told not to. She called and made a complaint about the clerk that wouldn't serve her in English. The attendant then came out of the booth, put her in a headlock, and started abusing and assaulting her. And it was a good thing that there was individuals that came to her rescue, and she went and she received help at a local hospital. But this is a growing trend where there is a backlash against English speakers across the province of Quebec.
And this is exactly what, when you and I wrote a piece over the weekend in The Sun, referring to this notion of the PQ, identifying this notion of people wanting to hang on to their culture. It's clear and evident in Quebec through the values of charter. They've touched on something. They've wrongly exploited it, but they've rightly identified it. And let's even go so far as to say that there's a poll out today. If PQ's a minority government. If an election were held today, they would win a majority. The rest of us, the ROC, rest of Canada, we are mortified, outraged, and horrified by this values of charter. We're more fussed about it. But they're on to something, for better or worse.
Well, 48% of people in Quebec support the values charter. Now, when you look at simply the PQ supporters, that jumps to 86% support the values charter. So obviously, they've touched on something that their supporters and their base clearly support, and it is a re-emergence of French nationalism, and they're using it, and they're riding it, and they're using the values charter, and it's obviously resulting in numbers for them because they've seen a bump in their support as a result of it.
The pendulum always swings the other way, doesn't it, Sarah?
Yep,
all right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Sarah McIntyre is our Sun News contributor and the former press secretary to the Prime Minister.